once you've soaked your shaped and gouged cane for about 10 to 15 minutes. The shape referring to the width and how steeply the cane gets to this width. The gouge referring to the inner scrape of the reed or how the underside is hollowed out. You're going to want to look for a little crease right here in the middle where you can fold it over. If you used a hand shaper tip, this fold is already there and you don't need to worry about it. However, do try to make sure that the upper blade folds to the right of the blade that is underneath, like so. This is quite important if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, just do the exact opposite. Now at this point some people would just go straight to tying, but I'm actually going to thin out the edges of the cane here. Some people do this because they think it cracks less often. Spoiler alert, it cracks anyways despite doing this. I'm doing it because it smoothens out the transition area between the cane and the staple later. In my experience, I've never noticed the cracking doing anything badly, but it sort of makes sense to me, and I've been told before that if you crack it on one side, crack it on the other. I think it's really important that you look into getting some sort of expensive thread holder that you can tie to, like a chair leg or a pencil holder for the chair. Tie it as many times as you can so that it doesn't come loose. I am just kidding, just tie it at least twice. If you have a thicker thread, maybe at least 3 times. Now that you've got the staple in your left hand, the cane in your right hand, you can either take your third hand and start wiggling the cord that's sticking out the bottom of the screw, or you can do what I'm doing and pinch both pieces between your left hand thumb and fourth finger. As you can see, there's a little number 14 scribbled at the bottom, and when I offset it, it should wiggle back into place when you pinch it and shake it at the same time. Because I talked relatively quickly in the previous clip and we still got a little bit of time, this one I'm going to make a joke about how I'm making an OK sign right now by pinching both pieces in my left hand. Just making sure it's 73, 72, 74. Let's start it. So if you're right-handed, you're going to do exactly as you see. If you're left-handed, download the video and mirror image it. It'll honestly be easier than me trying to do it with my left hand. It's the same anyways. The handedness is important for the overlap because of how the blades are tense against each other. Right now I'm just making sure the cane is centered. And apparently there's a little crack, hard to see in this image, but as you can see, scraping at the beginning did not prevent that. Okay, and let's close up the gaps on the side, pinch harder, make sure it's still at 73, yep, we're good to go. And we can bring the cane closer to the top. I'm just winding the thread until the tip of the tube, which for me is 47. I can usually tell when it's starting to choke. If you go past that, it'll decapitate the reed. But if you're starting out, I recommend taking another staple of the same length and measuring, or using a ruler. I've actually hit the tip of the tube now at 47, so I'm just going to make sure everything's equal, crooked, like I just pushed there. And then we're going to do the crossover. Whoop. I really need some background music. And from here, we're just gonna wrap all the way down. Make sure you keep the tension all the way when you're I'm just doing some loop-de-loop knots here. This is where you pay a bit more attention. We go over, then through the loop, and then back under and through the loop and over and under, how many times you want to. You don't expect me to narrate everything, do you? Just listen to the sound. Nice, right? So now what's important is that the overlap is on the left, so the upper blade is to the right and the lower blade is to the left. So I'm doing this right now. It's an extra step. Not everybody does it, but I like to. It gives you a bigger opening, so I say it's important in dry places. Basically, you thin the tip until it's thin enough for you to clip it. Most people use razor blades. I find they're expensive, so I use another knife, just for chopping. The next part is quite important. Just listen. Did you hear that click? I'll play it again for you many times. You do hear that over the music, right? I did time it properly, right? Well, that's all. Just make sure the overlap's on the left-hand side. If you're right-handed, means the upper blade's to the right and the lower blade is to the left. Because we made a click, it'll be really hard to get the plaque in. You gotta force it in, and that's a really good thing. You want tight sides. You wanna make sure the plaque doesn't come out, that the ends are really, really tight and gripping it, and no loose sides, please. Well, that's everything. Congratulations on our first blank. I hope this video helped.